I absolutely love Octopath Traveler. I knew I would since its initial announcement video. When people ask me why I like this game so much, I'm just not really sure how to put it into words though. So, hi, my name is AverageAlexander. I'm about to rant in a poor attempt to explain why I like this game Octopath Traveler so much and why I think that more people who like RPGs should give it an opportunity. So if that sounds exciting to you, get ready, buckle up, and let's do this. I'm new to this whole YouTube thing, but I think the way this goes is to make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy the video. And if you do, you can get some of those sweet, sweet stat-boosting nuts. Octopath Traveler is a game that has, well, you guessed it, 8 paths, hence the name Octopath. You take the role of one character at a time and experience their story through a series of chapters that are initiated by going to the corresponding locations on the map. I chose the character named Cyrus to start, and during his opening cutscene immediately realized what a mistake I had made. Embodying the favorite anime trope of, look at how cool and smart I am. Women love me, but I don't know it because I'm a noble scholar. His character's purpose is to pursue more knowledge in the form of ancient tomes, with the setup of his story being established within the first hour of gameplay. Definitely not my favorite personality as far as the characters go. I'd much rather play as Tressa, my Octopath love with an adorable voice and a desire to see the world while also hoarding as much money as possible. A woman after my own heart. The other characters in this game include Alphen, the friendly apothecary seeking to help anyone in need. Ulbrich, the shamed king's knight seeking redemption and purpose. Primrose, a Discord admin's dream girl gone wrong. Therian, the rogue stereotype with a questionable voice actor.
Out of my way.
Ophelia, your excellency's simp.
Your Excellency, Your Excellency, Your Excellency.
And then there's Hannet. Hannet? I don't care.
But no, Master liketh to act in the fool, but when it cometh to hunting...
Bruh.
Each character has its own unique class with their own unique abilities, which come complete with these things called path actions. There are a total of 4 throughout the game with a corresponding light versus dark. Therian, being a thief, for example, can steal, which is considered bad. Tressa can, in turn, purchase items, which is considered good, because capitalism is good. These actions open up a new relationship between the player and the world in a good way, allowing you to take the time to interact with otherwise non-essential NPCs in attempts to find greater treasures or a small edge in battle later. For instance, here's one of my favorite examples of these path actions so far. Okay, so I have Ulbrich and Tressa in my party and I enter a town. There's an otherwise unassuming woman standing by the entrance that is the beginning to a questline. She complains about a man nearby who proposed to her, but she didn't consider him manly enough, and the man was upset when she rejected him. So, I did what literally anybody else in my position would do. I decided to purchase the shield that she had for sale, using Tressa's ability. Then I decided to give that shield to Ulbrich, my tank, and I proceeded to use his action to challenge her to a battle of attrition. I then left her knocked out on the ground and unable to be interacted with again until I left the town to come back at a later date. Because, I just want to stick up for the little guy. Oh, and then there's this other good time when I was trying to honestly just complete a quest for an NPC who requested me to just escort them to another town so she could meet back up with her husband. However, when I got there, being unable to locate her husband on the other end, I then took her into battle with me using Ophelia's path action of guiding someone against a larger-than-life butler and his cronies and took her into a complete boss fight by accident. Doesn't that sound fun? Great, because here's more information for you. But then you get into the real meat of Octopath Traveler. Aside from the story, you then have the battles. They're turn-based, but with a twist. Similarly to a game like Bravely Default, your characters gain a resource called Battle Points, or BP for short, with each passing turn, starting the battle with 1 point. When you press the R button, you ready a point, granting you an extra basic attack or powering up your next skill. But you need to think about when you use this, because the following turn after using a battle point, or any number of them, you will then not recover a point the next time the turn comes up. You can, however, still act, unlike Bravely Default, where more often than not you end up overusing and then you have to wait. This can get a lot more strategic when utilizing someone like Tressa, who has an ability from the merchant class which allows you to donate BP to a corresponding ally, thus filling their pool even more. And how this plays into battles is that enemies have what I like to call a breaking point, which opens up their defenses and also stuns them for the following turn. It's the moment when you let your pent-up rage fly and deal the max damage you possibly can. In order to make this happen though, you'll need to attack their corresponding weaknesses until their shield count reaches 0. This is met by a satisfying glass breaking noise coupled with lots of pretty lights. And this is where my initial choice of Cyrus comes in handy, as his innate ability grants me knowledge of one weakness upon entering battle with a new enemy that I've yet to encounter, as well as revealing more of them every time I encounter them going forward. It's important to try to break the enemies as much as possible, 1 to make the battles go through faster, and 2 because you also get more rewards at the end. The game tries to encourage you to experiment with the system by giving you things like experience and extra JP. JP is used after battle to obtain new skills. You spend them on the skills that you'd like in the menu after the fights are over to learn new spells and other abilities your character can utilize during battles. When you obtain these new skills using your JP, depending on how many of them you've unlocked, you'll also learn other support skills that you can equip to your character to further augment their abilities or manipulate their stats before going into fights. It's important to remember that this is an RPG, which means that exploration is also heavily encouraged in the form of chests and other items, as well as even shrines that you can find on the map. These shrines will grant your characters access to new jobs that other characters already have access to, giving you the ability to second class on top of your first class, giving you access to new skills to learn, as well as other support skills that you can augment your character with further. This can make battles even more in-depth because now not only do you have extra spells to use and extra abilities that are inherently buffing your character, but you also get the ability to wield the weapons that the other class can wield as well, meaning that you can outfit some characters with as much as even 4 weapons at once, giving them a lot of versatility towards breaking these weaknesses. I've only spent 9 hours on the save, but before putting it down for quite some time, I had initially played for close to 28 hours before. This can all get pretty engrossing for me, and it makes my small gamer brain feel really big. I like watching those numbers go up. As you may have noticed, this game has some awesome looking pixel art. I personally find the aesthetic of this game absolutely stunning. I've always been a huge fan of this kind of presentation style, but to take that and mix it with a real-time lens flare based lighting and realistic battle effects, coupled with the impressively intimidating enemy sprites, the whole game just really pops. Like, come on, check some of these areas out. The artwork as a whole is very impressive, invoking vibes of early-day Final Fantasy traditional artwork. It's very pleasing to the eye and definitely one of the game's strongest points. But because of the Switch's inferior hardware, the game has some minor chugs during particularly heavy areas. Thankfully, it's nothing too distracting from the main experience. Couple those charming graphics with a righteous soundtrack and you've got a complete package. Overworld themes that are soothing when taking a stroll through the forest. Spooky dungeon themes when in caves and other dangerous locations. And don't even get me started on that battle theme.
Smite them down. Now then.
It's one of the few RPGs I've played that didn't have me spamming the run button to get to my destination faster, often going off the beaten path to locate chests and other secrets. I find it very relaxing. But I'd be lying if I said everything worked out wonderfully. It is a B-list RPG, so naturally something somewhere has to show it, right? Regrettably for Octopath, that's in its voice acting. Now, I'm personally of the belief that some voice acting is better than absolutely no voice acting, but in certain cases, this can be really grating to listen to.
Yes, Professor. Let's see. I believe it was Sorenberg?
Only with certain characters that I may or may not have already identified. To make matters worse, it doesn't even end up fully committing to the voice acting, so only certain areas in each character's stories are actually voice acted, leaving the remaining moments to be filled with a myriad of...
I see. Oh!
Your Excellency.
Well, definitely not the best, but I'll let it slide though. If it wasn't obvious so far though, let me reiterate one more time. I adore Octopath Traveler for bringing a consistently classic challenge, refining the new standard gimmick most RPGs use, and just overall bringing an old new charm to the modern gamescape. I hope it continues to be well received in the RPG community, and I hope that the announced sequel in development only seeks to improve on this game's shortcomings. But yeah, that's it. We're done here, so cut it, print it, send it. Let's go, boys.